Hello everybody, welcome to video number 2. And now you've committed to this and you want to start your 28-day program. What you have to do is you have to understand the goals of each day and exactly what you're looking for. So what I tend to do with all my clients is I ask them to buy a notebook. And in that notebook, they're going to literally write everything down that they're going to do over the next 28 days. So, for example, day 1, you will take your measurements and you will take your weight. And measurements are perhaps this area, your waist, your hips. And I found really taking arms and neck can be very powerful as well. So get your notebook and write that in. What I also ask my clients to do is to actually write down how they're feeling before they start the program, because that's essential. How you're feeling about your body, your mood swings, how you're feeling in yourself, but then literally write down how you want to feel at the end of 28 days. Bearing in mind, many of our clients will actually need to be on this program for maybe a lot longer than that. We do ask everybody to look at staying on it for a minimum of 2 months, because then their body has a chance to realign itself and be in balance with how they personally want to lose the weight. But you all lose it differently. Every client you may have will lose it differently. So what I want you to think about is having that one-on-one and finding out their why. Because when you get that, then everything else becomes much easier to explain. So we're starting with our 28 days. You've got your notebook. You're going to write everything in there. You need to really count the calories. We're a 1250 calorie regime, but not because we're calorie counting type of program. What it's about is getting people to identify with portion sizes and how much food you will have in a day to allow you to lose weight. And that's really essential for putting in your mind for future, so you don't gain the weight back. So you get recognized with meal portions. So for the first 2 weeks, it is a little bit anal to do that. It's a bit, oh really, must I? So in the back of this notebook, when you create something, write the calories in there. You know, 1 onion, 2 tomatoes, this and this. So you never have to weigh it all out again in quite the same way. You know exactly what the calorie base is. And we do have a program, a book within our program that actually you could find really, really useful. And there's a basic calorie counter in here anyways, and plus lots and lots of recipes that are all calorie counted for you. So don't just worry about, oh, it seems like a lot of hard work. It isn't. The hard work is you actually committing to it and staying on track. This is the easy part, because once you know the calories, you know what you can and can't put into each of your meals. So we are a regime that is 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. And it's important that you fit your 1250 calories around that. But you need to set aside about 150 to actually have good fats. And good fats needs to include coconut oil every day where possible. If you know that you're not going to be able to cook with it that day, some people have it in a drink, some people add it to their cereal in the morning, and cereal I mean porridge in the morning, and some people I know just have a spoonful of it. Not my cup of tea, but if it's yours, be free, go for it. Other good fats to include to make the calories up are walnuts and avocado. So if you base your good fat intake every single day with a minimum of 150 calories worth, you can have a really, really good combination of foods that are going to work effectively with your body to release the fat and change your shape forever. So I generally allocate 300 calories for breakfast, 300 for lunch, 300 for my evening meal. Just to give me a guideline, that's 900 calories. That still gives me 350 left to play around with, and 2 of those will be for snacks. So your snacks can break down into 100 calories worth, then you've got the rest to use maybe in breakfast and lunch, or you can have slightly bigger snacks. That will depend on your routine and when you feel you get the munchies or you want to do something like that. So it's important you eat all of that every single day. We do recommend you don't eat after 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at the latest, mainly because your body hasn't got time to digest everything that you're trying to put into it. Plus, you need time to work off the fat that, or the food that you've given during the day. So try not to eat after 7 o'clock at night, 8 at the latest, and make sure that you get into the routine of how you take your drops. So I'm going to talk about that now. You get 2 bottles, one daytime, one evening. One night drops, one day drops. So you need to carry this around with you wherever you go. Get yourself a little pouch or something you can put it in to protect it in case you drop it. But other than that, you've got a little pipette in there that you take out. This is quite a thick combination. There you go. And it's very chocolatey based, but it's quite bitter chocolate. So for the first couple of days, you'll possibly take it and you'll just do a little bit of a funny face. All you have to do is 10 drops on your tongue. So literally count them out, or if you can, 0.7 ml in the actual measurer there. But I find this one, because it's quite thick, I find it easier, particularly when you open it, excuse me, for the first time, to actually just drop it on your tongue and then you swallow. So really easy. The difficulty is remembering to take it. Many of my clients go, I forgot to take it, what do I do? Well, you need to set an alarm roughly when you have lunch every day, roughly when you have breakfast, to remind you to take it half an hour before, 20 minutes at the least. If you then just go to sit down and you go to take it, you realised you haven't, take it then. But the best way it's going to work with your body is when you allow it time to get into your body, because this particular one will stop you craving food. It will give you a boost in energy. It will help your metabolism. It will help with digestion. And it's an all-round food in itself. So it tells your brain that you're actually more nourished. Lots of other products just make you not be hungry for longer, but this is a nutritional product that helps to change the way your body's going to work in the future. So it's really important to your 28 days. You take this at breakfast, lunch and dinner. And note the 3, breakfast, lunch and dinner is what you need to do every single day. Don't skip any of it, because your body has to get into the habit of constantly breaking down food. Because the more you starve yourself, your body goes into fat storage instead of fat burning. And on traditional diets in the past, that's exactly what I did. Then you come to your night drops. And the night drops need to be taken within an hour to 2 hours of you going to bed. Now that's a tricky one, because often you don't know when you want to go to bed. So I tend to look at taking this about 9:30 to 10 o'clock most evenings. And then I go to bed about an hour and a half, 2 hours later. Sometimes it's longer than that, sometimes it's shorter. So just do the best you can with your routine. And it may well be that during the week you take it earlier and at weekends you take it slightly later. But don't go to bed without taking it. Now this one is much more pleasant, and it's a clear liquid, and you take 2 mils. So almost 2 pipettefuls. And you pop it in, again, swallow it straight away. So you can drink water in between, but personally I like to leave at least 10 minutes before I take some drinks, just to allow it to go through the system. What you will find with these is you become very, very confident that these are doing something within your body. That's what you've invested in, and you've invested in yourself. So don't let yourself down by not taking them at the right stage. And those of you that are looking at this as a training video, really stay in touch with your clients for the first week or 2 that they're on the program, and inspire them to actually remember to take these at the right time and the right place, because these are what I call the miracle drops. Being big for over 35 years, I'd accepted that's who I was. But these have changed my life forever, and they can change people that you talk to and yours as well. There comes with a leaflet, read it totally, and for the first 2 days you just take these drops to get them into your body, and your body is preparing to lose weight, and you eat normally. but not fast food takeaways or chocolate or things like that. Just normally, you're not calorie counting, in other words. So you're starting to break down the fat and the toxins, but you've not gone into the fully fledged 1250 calories. And then when day 3 comes, that's it, you're on it. Now that means you must stick to the approved food list at that stage, and you must start to count your calories just for the first couple of weeks until you become familiar with what 1250 calories looks like. It's really important that if you exercise, you add calories in. So in other words, if you burn 300 calories at the gym, you take 75% of those calories back into your intake. So you would bring in another 220 calories worth that day. So that's quite useful. But let me stress, this is not a requirement of you being on the program. You do not have to go out there and exercise. Gentle walking, absolutely fine, if that's what you want. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not an exercise person at all. And I lost my entire 64 pounds without doing a day's worth of exercise. Sadly, I still don't do much exercise, but that might change in the future. But you don't have to. But if you are exercising, then please do remember to add 75 calories back in. It's really, really, really important, because this is not a starvation routine. This is fill your body up with nutrition. And as your body has had the exercise, it's in the best way of burning fat possible, but it needs fuel to do that. So when you do, the best choice you can make is a protein-based something. So in other words, something like our Pure Nourish. The Pure Nourish and maybe the Power Boost are ideal for anybody on exercises as healthy snacks. And they come with a shaker that you can make it in. But my best friend in all the world, and the thing that I think everybody should go out and think about, is buying one of these, my NutriBullet. Because with the NutriBullet, or something similar, it doesn't have to be this, but literally you can put those powders into the container, then you can add a combination of fruit with a handful of spinach. Spinach is really, really good for you. So spinach into anything you can, pop that in there, add some coconut milk, unsweetened, and almond milk or water, entirely up to you, with some ice cubes, and then blitz. That's a perfect snack or a meal on the go. We are not a company that recommends meal replacements, but when you get into a situation where you're not sure what's going to be on offer, I always have this as my literal emergency fallback. So I will put these into a little sachet. There'll be 2 scoops of the Pure Nourish, there'll be half a scoop of Power Boost, and I also put half a scoop of Beauty Boost in there. And I have it in a little sachet that wherever I go, I have it in the car with my shaker, my sachet. All I've got to do is go and buy some water. It's not as pleasant as when I add my fruit, but if you're determined that you are going to make your 28 days work, you cannot be sidetracked with anything or anyone. So you're going to a work do and you know there's going to be lots of sandwiches and sausage rolls on offer, then you've got the alternative. And actually, people understand when you're really committed to something, you know, your good people around you will help you be committed. So lifeline to me. So it's really important that you get your head around how this is going to work. You buy your food in advance and you have it in the fridge. So there's no excuse that when you come home, you haven't got the right food to eat. I tend to have a lot of these little containers around, here and here. And I've got toasted sesame seeds here, and in here I've got 15 almonds. That's 110 calories in there. So that's how you can be prepared as well. Make these in advance. So instead of you having the whole bag of nuts, like here, which you can't stop, all you need to do is portion size them out. So they're on the go. And when you've eaten them, you actually know you've had your 110 calorie snack. I tend to add this to a piece of fruit. So my snack calories when I do this particular one tend to be about 140 to 150 calories worth, something like that. If I've got less calories to use that day because I've put them into my meals, I'll just reduce the amount of nuts I have. But anytime you eat a piece of fruit, you actually do need to add a bit of protein with it to get the maximum benefit, because then you don't spike your sugar levels through the natural sugars that are actually in your allowed fruit. So just remember, even 4 or 5 nuts, you don't even have to have your whole supply of nuts. 4 or 5 will be sufficient for you. Remember to add that in. That's also important when you have breakfast. When you eat your breakfast, if you are having, and soup and breakfast seems to be the area where people just have a bowl of soup, homemade, they know what's gone into it, and they feel very satisfied and very euphoric because it's all healthy. But you do need to add protein to that as well. So in the form of maybe a piece of fish afterwards, some prawns, some chicken, or just have your nuts. It's as simple as that. What I tend to do is with my blender, I just do a piece of pre-cooked chicken, mix it all in here and add it to the soup as a little bit of a crouton on top. So you just have to get a little bit creative with how this happens. But being prepared is essential, because if you're not prepared, you'll be thrown into a bit of a flap and you won't know what to do. Big warning coming, big warning. On day 1, you weighed yourself. You do not weigh yourself until day 7. You have to absolutely abide by this, because everybody loses weight differently. Some people lose weight in their first 3 or 4 days, some lose it in the last 2 days. Some lose it averagely every single day. So you weigh yourself 4 or 5 days and you go, woohoo, I've lost 4 pounds. And then you weigh yourself 3 days later and you've only lost a quarter, yet you've been really, really good. Don't weigh yourself. In fact, I would strongly recommend you lock your scales away and give the key to somebody else. Or you go to a local chemist that has a weighing scale there and you make that your mission to go and weigh yourself. You need to weigh yourself under the same conditions every single week. So if you've got a t-shirt and trackies on, that's how you weigh yourself again, in the same spot as well. So you get a true definition. But what I would recommend is you get a set of scales that also show body fat and water content, because that's where a lot of us fall down. We don't drink enough water. I can't find mine at the moment. And water, you need to have a minimum of 2 litres a day, because that will flush the toxins through, but also your body needs to be nourished. Do not drink your 2 litres of water all in one go. So right, you get rid of it all by lunchtime, because it's a bit like when you overwater a flower. The body will only take the water it needs at that moment in time, and the rest it just expels. For the first couple of days on the program, you will obviously be taking on more water, and most people to spend a lot of time just quickly running off to the toilet. That's normal, not a problem. The first couple of days as well, you can get maybe slight reactions from taking the drops. Most people don't, but that's quite normal. So you could get maybe a little bit of a headache. Some people feel a little bit nauseous, but that's because it's starting to break the toxins down and they're beginning to come out of the body. Don't be alarmed by that. Just chat to any of us and we'll be able to guide you through. But normally, most people have absolutely no effect at all. In fact, they feel amazing, and that's the good news. So you just have to make sure that you follow the guidelines. When we say stick to the approved food list, we really do mean it, because this is where the results happen. So if you decide it's Friday night and a couple of drinks won't hurt you, trust me, they will, because they upset the process that your body's going through. And what happens is you then don't lose weight for the next 3 days, no matter how good you are. And that's how traditional slimming clubs and things work. I used to go every Monday night, get weighed and have a Mars bar in my bag ready to eat on the way out. So all the good I did, I've eaten that, so it means I don't lose much weight for the next 3 days. The same applies here. Really stick to it and don't come off of it, and you will be given the results that you need. So remember, there is no coffee and no tea, but you can have herbal tea and fruit tea. That's absolutely fine. And any milk you use, or dairy, is out of the system, because dairy upsets the lining of the stomach, and it also doesn't add any good value to your nutritional levels. But you can have unsweetened almond milk and unsweetened coconut milk, so that's perfect. And also you can have 85% chocolate. Now, you wouldn't want to eat this as a bar of chocolate, but you can make maybe your own protein bar, and the recipe is in here, so you can find it in there. That could be a real pleasant treat and a real pleasant snack. So we're not restricting you with everything, we're just giving your body the stuff it can cope with and it can break down. So it uses it as fuel and it allows you to release the fat that you have inside. So day one comes and you're on plan, and you really have to do the right things that keep you on track. So if you're on our supplements, make sure you take them twice a day. And you take them morning and evening, but with food. Really important, with food. The only exception to that, or two exceptions, is your Restorex. If you're on our detox program, you will need to take this an hour either side of food or any 2 hours from any medication. That's really important because it will just flush it straight out of the system. So find a time that works for you to take that. And for most people, I'll rejuvenate 2 at breakfast and then 1 in the afternoon with a snack. So that works perfectly too. What else have I got to tell you? Wherever you go, be prepared. So I tend to take some sesame seeds with me. So if a salad is quite dull where I've gone, I can quickly sprinkle it over. And I always have nuts in my bag, because if you do feel a little bit, you want the munchies, or you're sitting with other people that are eating, you quite want to have that same experience as well. So don't be shy or worried about that. Just be consistent. You then weigh yourself every week and you write the measurements down as well. So the first week you will put your measurements too. And you literally just count your way to the 28 days. But don't forget to talk to the people that you know are already on the plan. Get involved in the community. Get involved in everything else that's going on around you. And then just live by it. Our recipes are amazing. They're tasty, they're wholesome, and they actually really do work. But I'm going to leave you now with the things that you have to avoid. And really, in order for you to understand this, processed food is a no-no. So it may look like it's quinoa already cooked for you, but if it's in a bag where it's happened, it's probably processed. Use the raw variety and cook it yourself. So processed food completely goes out the window. You don't have any wheat of any kind, no dairy, and also no soy of any kind. So you take that out. So it means no cheese. Sounds quite harsh, but it's designed for food to break down in your body that the body can cope with. There's no pork, mainly because your body can't break that down effectively, and actually porks are not very good nutritional meat. But beef and chicken and fish, high on the list of what you can have as a protein. And just get experimental. What we find is a lot of people stick to the same menu for the first couple of weeks, and then you get out there and you want to try something different. Your journey is bespoke to you. This is a bespoke program that you can work for you and your clients. And just follow what your body is telling you, then you'll get the results. So join me for the final video, a very quick one on what comes next once you've got to the magic weight that you want to get to.